right, that Othello falls into his trance. And again, I'm super interested as to how they're going to do this on stage, what that will look like. And I think we might have a very different impression of this scene when you actually see physically, right, this sort of great general, kind of breaking down on stage. I want to just kind of quickly go over what happens next in the next kind of couple of pages, just to make sure you sort of understand what Iago set up here for Othello. So Othello falls into this trance. Enter Cassio, right? And Iago says, "Oh, Cassio, I really want to talk to you. Come back in a few minutes because Othello is having a seizure here. I'll get rid of Othello, okay, and then I want to have a conversation." So what he's setting up is this really wonderful eavesdropping scene, okay, for Othello, right? Because then what does he ask? Once Othello comes to, right, after kind of the seizure, what does Iago ask him to do? Do you remember? Bless you. Yeah, what does he ask Othello to do? Stephanie?
To like go hide somewhere where he can hear like Cassio and his conversation, so that way he can see what Cassio has to say about Desdemona.
Excellent. Yeah, so at the bottom of 149, yeah, he basically says, yes, go enclave yourself. Go hide over here in the dark, right, where Cassio can't see you. And I'm going to ask Cassio a lot of questions about Desdemona, and you'll be able to hear, right, kind of what he says. So the tricky thing is, right, Othello goes and hides, Cassio comes out, but who is Iago really asking him questions about? Bianca, right? Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see how the players do this tomorrow, right? He says one line where he mentions Desdemona's name, right? When he says, "Ooh, ply Desdemona well, and you are sure on it." All he has to do is really say Desdemona's name loudly. And then the rest of the questions about Bianca. How do you imagine he says Bianca's name? Softly, like a whisper, like, "Oh, let's talk about Bianca," right? He just has to say it quiet enough so that Othello can't hear it, right? Okay, but Cassio can. And so that's how he sort of stages this little scene right here. So, Othello's listening, thinks they're talking about Desdemona, but they're really talking about Bianca. Did we already talk about yesterday or the other day about how they describe Bianca?
Yeah.
We did enough, right? Okay, in terms of sexualizing her and reducing her to a whore. Okay, then we'll skip that. All right. So let's then turn to page 155. I want us to spend some time looking at Othello's reaction. Okay. So he thinks that Cassio's been talking about Desdemona, right? Treating Desdemona as if she is some common strumpet. And he then comes out the gate saying, "How shall I murder him, Iago?" Right? Okay, that's kind of, Othello's first line after Cassio leaves. So in your groups, what I want you to do right now, spend a few minutes. You are going to scan lines 162, where Othello starts with, "How shall I murder him, Iago?" up to line 200, okay, where Othello says, "Excellent, good." And here's what I want you to do. Ultimately, there's one question I want you to be able to answer. Okay, and this is the question, right? With what does Othello struggle? Okay, he is struggling there, right? What is he struggling with? That's the question I want you to be able to answer. And then once you answer it, I'm going to ask you, well, what lines support that, right? Kind of what textual evidence do you see of that? So as your group, I want you to kind of look at that section, really try to figure out what Othello is struggling with, and what lines really show that. Okay, of course, you're going to consider diction, right? Syntax, imagery, as a way to kind of find evidence of that. Okay, go for it. A few minutes, and then we'll come and discuss in class.
Getting back to like this Othello, like this just kind of questioning Iago,
He's answering these questions like with the question.
just also I think it's Othello comes up with like this like his he's like direct answer he comes up with
And then Othello said, so it's like he is drawing his own conclusions, like Iago doesn't see what he did.
Do you think that like he's questioning there's like doubt or just like denial.
I mean,
not so I
yeah. Also, you see, like,
Yeah, me too.
Othello's, like, what he says is much stronger than what Othello says.
And then right, I mean that's like the loud
I mean, Iago is like conflicted, because like he's going to like paragraphs, and then Iago would just answer with a few words.
Yeah.
She was he just wanted to give too much away. Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah,
He was like, what a waste of opportunity. And he also wants to keep like some of his mystery so he can like manipulate it.
Yeah. Because if he gives him like the exact like I don't know, detail, wrong, then it's
I think also he like
But then he follows that by oh sweet creature, so it's what means that.
so like that he cares about like knows too much about it.
yeah, because you also want to seem like you've known about it before. Yeah.
Okay. We have a chance to discuss? Okay, so big question. With what does Othello struggle right here in this moment? Ella?
Decided to kill Desmond
Or?
or not.
Okay, and really, yeah, kind of deciding to kill Desdemona or not, and that's kind of rooted in what feelings, Grace?
He's like really torn between like still holding on to the love he has for her and then
Yeah.
also hating her now.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, do I love her? Is she fair and beautiful, or do I hate her and is she just this evil woman? Yep.
Well, within a few lines, he says she's a fine woman, a fair woman, a sweet woman. But then, literally 2 lines later, he says, "Oh, let her rot and perish, and not a sweeter creature." But he's so torn. Like, oh, the world hath not a sweeter creature. Like, she's so sweet. She's the sweetest creature. And then he also says just to let her rot and perish. So it's really conflicting.
It is, and he bounces back and forth, which is kind of beautiful. The whole structure of it works that way, right? Kind of these opposing thoughts. Julie?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting that he's describing her like a fair, sweet woman, fair, sweet woman, saying like so delicate, admirable. Not that long ago, he was describing her as like a fair devil, and to tear her to pieces.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting that like he described her that way, but when he hears what his Cassian describing her that way, he gets all affected.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, Ellery?
It feels like Iago's talking in very short sentences.
Yeah.
So I think even if Othello's like is conflicted, Iago just is kind of like guiding him towards the right way by just kind of subtly like saying stuff like after he says like she's beautiful and he says like no you must forget that and then it kind of guides him to
Love that. That's very good. Because if you notice, yeah, kind of organizationally, yeah, each of these things that Othello says, yeah, he's kind of conflicted in each statement. You're right, Iago, all he has to do is be very short to the point. He's kind of more direct here, though. No, we can't think that anymore. I mean, he seems to really be like the puppet master now, right? Kind of guiding Othello what to think. That's great. Gabrielle?
Kind of remind me of like when you pick petals like that you love and fish.
Ooh,
So he's like messing with his feelings.
definitely. Yeah, it is sort of like that as well. Other thoughts on kind of diction, sort of syntax here? Any imagery you want to comment on? No? Yeah, Kara?
Well, I feel like syntactically, like Iago says a lot of questions, like in the beginning, like he doesn't make a lot of statements, while
Yep.
Othello is still kind of conflicted. So he's not really making the decisions, the statements for him. He's kind of waiting for Othello to formulate it by himself,
Okay,
and then he'll agree with it.
okay. Isabel?
I think like towards the end of the page Iago's kind of sensing how on the fence Othello is because after Othello says but get the pity of it Iago, oh the pity of it Iago, Iago like comes in with saying like give her patent to offend or like if you really love her then just like let her walk all over you and then in the line after that Othello says I will chop her into messes cuckold me. So I think he's really playing towards Othello's pride and like him as a man. So like he sees that like this kind of confliction within Othello, and then it kind of lasts. I feel like longer than he wants it to. So he's like enough of this now. We
Yeah.
need to get back to our plan.
We need to make our decision about it. Okay, good. I also think if you kind of note, it's an interesting use of the M dash here as well, which oftentimes can be used for emphasis. But toward the end, we see that that's where it kind of divides the opposing viewpoints of Othello. He'll say one thing, and then there's this kind of pause, and then the other right perspective kind of comes out. So Shakespeare's really sort of using that If the actor's acting it, there should be some sort of pause, but on the page, it's actually very telling that that's kind of where it splits. Yeah, Stephanie.
On line 193 to 194, he says like, lest her body be unprovided by mine again. This night, Iago. So he knows that when he sees Desdemona, it's like everything turns around for him, and like he just like falls for her again.
Okay, good.
But then like pauses to rethink it, and he's like, okay, I actually.
Good. I like that, and I think also kind of the way you said it, that sort of this duality here that he sees in Desdemona, again, is playing with this idea of appearance versus reality, right? This sort of dual nature, right? That she seems one way, right? She seems sweet, she seems fair, right? Beautiful, that all these kind of appearance-driven things don't necessarily reflect this nature that he now believes, right? And maybe that's why he's fearful of seeing her. He'll succumb to his feelings about her appearance, right? And not be able to, believe what he believes about her nature. Good. Okay, let's look at how he decides to kill her. Whew, that's just to keep doing. So Othello says, get me some poison, right? So he wants to poison her, right? Which is sort of interesting. How have we heard poison be used in this play? In connection with what? Not that to describe jealousy, actually, right? That jealousy is like a poison that gnaws my innards. Even Iago says, work my medicine, work, right? Okay, so that we've seen that Othello himself has been poisoned, right, by jealousy, but he is going to, or wants to, sort of literally poison Desdemona. So it's kind of an echo of that idea of poisoning. But Iago has a better idea. Boy, it's twisted. What should Othello do? Strangle her in her bed, right? So it really kind of sexualizes her murder, right? Okay, because she's being kind of reduced now to this unfaithful strumpet, right? Okay, that an appropriate murder would be to kill her in the very bed that she was contaminated. So it's a very dark death that they are planning. And look what Othello says about it. Good, good. The justice of it pleases. Very good. What's significant about that use of the word justice? Because he's going to use it again, pretty sure, in Act 5. What's significant about justice? Kira?
I feel like it brings up the idea of justice versus mercy. Like, it's not like don't get mad, get even. Like, so he's getting even with her by strangling her in the bed that she betrayed him in.
Okay, good. Isabel?
I think it really shows how ignorant he is of the whole situation,
Yeah.
because it's like, to him it's the right thing to do. To him it's like what she deserves, but in actuality he's committing like murder for something that she didn't do.
It's kind of ironically used here. Yeah, Marissa?
Yeah, I think I agree with Isabel. It's kind of like his whole perception of what is good and what's just completely turned around, because none of it is just, and he doesn't have any active proof either. So.
Okay, good.
It shows that he doesn't think the murder is bad, or like he won't feel bad about it because he's reasoned it within himself.
Right, yeah. Helen?
Yeah, I was gonna say that it shows his transition from the beginning where he was like rational, calm, and respectful to like now, like he is even like justifying murder.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, he's completely transformed. And he's also playing judge and executioner, that's a conflict of interest, right? Okay, to be both. And again, you're going to see, I'm pretty sure you're going to see that echoed again in Act 5. Okay. Good. I think we're set for that part. All right. So note what happens here. This is kind of a weird scene because there are a lot of itty-bitty scenes that happen within this one scene, and we're still technically in this same room, right? But Othello and Iago are now plotting, right, kind of Desdemona's death, how they're going to do it, and then right, enter all these people from Venice. Okay, so in comes Lodovico. So it's immediately on the heels of this very tense conversation about, murdering Cassio, okay, and Desdemona. So the trumpets come, in comes Lodovico, right? He is Desdemona's cousin, but also an emissary from Venice. She comes with him, and then all these attendants. So it's kind of a full room. We don't know how many attendants, but there are quite a few people in here, okay, suddenly at this moment. Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to now go back into the play. Okay, we're going to look at language again. But starting here at line 205, I guess, when Lodovico says, God save you, worthy general. And I want you to go up until the point where he hits her. okay, on line 230. So we're gonna look at this span of 30 lines, okay? It's an interesting scene. We have a man who has never expressed, right, any kind of, violence other than kind of the language recently, toward his wife. Suddenly strikes her in public. There are a lot of people there, and he hits her in front of all of them. I want you to look at his language up to that moment. What do you notice here in this section about how he's speaking? Okay, go for it. Don't mention your group, and then we'll discuss.
It's just like it seems like
It just shows, she's still like respectful of him, but she's still like.
She goes like, how to take it back to the
fire and
feeling not
this feeling it's very short for Are You Wise? And it's like it's like no more than 5, 6.
He even says,
And it's like, and then that's
She knows she hasn't done anything wrong.
She knows she hasn't done anything. And I know that's just
she goes, my lord.
it's like, ask her,
She asks him,
and then I don't know why we never saw I see her say.
Yeah, why did he ever but like all the
I feel like he's just trying to
a lot short response
because
like even like not to go on and
bring up the idea so she can bring
So let's discuss. What did you see about Othello's language here in this section? It was very bloody a moment ago, right? Although conflicted. But what do we see here? Natalia and then Julie?
It's very like short and choppy, but still with like a lot of emotion. Like
Okay.
they're asking a question or like it like ends in an exclamation.
Okay, good. Like a short choppy, but yes, full of emotion. Julie?
Yeah, it's very short, but we feel like he's being like very passive aggressive towards Laura
Yes.
the answers. Like they're all kind of directed at her.
Definitely. Okay, good. I like that, Kira.
he takes Desdemona's words very literally and like exactly like on line 221 she says for love I bear to Cassio and he goes fire and brimstone so he's just very like she's meaning it as like just her good intentions trying to get him back as the lieutenant but Othello takes it the wrong way.
Okay, good. Anyone else? I saw you had your hand up earlier.
I just wanted to say like the whole short sentence thing.
Okay. Gabrielle?
And I think a lot of words like devil, bad,
Good. Yeah, so really kind of this focus on hellish, right, imagery. And again, I think you're right. I think he does see her as a devil now. She is deceitful, duplicitous, sneaky, right? Someone like me pointed out something interesting. He is referring to her as a devil. Think back to Act 1. What was he referred to as? Right, a devil as well. So he's kind of transferring that term, right? Okay, to her now. Kind of sees her as such. Good. Good. What about her? Let's look at her language, and then we'll kind of talk about the strike itself. What does she keep saying prior to? Yeah, I mean, she kind of repeats the same question over and over again. She has a couple statements about Cassio, but otherwise it's my lord, my lord, my lord. She says it 3 times, right? And then says it again. What do you think is the significance of that? Her repeating this question, my lord. Right, Jessica?
It's almost like she's trying to call for the person he used to be because
Ah.
she doesn't even recognize who he is now.
So she hears these kind of short exclamatory bursts or questions, right? She doesn't recognize him, right? That his language does not show he's the same person. She's asking for that person. Okay.
I was gonna say like the confusion of like his statements and like his attitude towards her.
Okay. All right. Israel?
That was more like how this affects like Othello's perspective, because from Othello's perspective, it's almost like she's rubbing it in that like he's not her lord anymore,
Okay.
and like she's deceived him.
Okay.
And maybe like even though he looks at her differently or like doesn't respect her anymore, she wants him to know that she still respects him and like loves him even though he doesn't.
Okay. Okay. It also is a nice echo of what she said in Act 3, Scene 4, which is that my lord is not my lord, right? It just kind of echoes that line a little bit, that she is, yeah, kind of still asking for, questioning what has happened, right, to her lord. Okay, why does he do it? I mean, she's simply just saying, my lord, maybe he perceives it the wrong way. Why does he strike her? In public. Why does he do it? Valerie?
Maybe because like he feels that like she embarrassed him.
Ooh.
So like he wants to embarrass her in front of everyone.
That's an interesting idea. Okay.
Well, from his point of view, like he sees her, he thinks that she like had an affair.
Uh-huh.
So by her kind of being confused as to why he's upset, he thinks it's kind of like rude or like she's kind of like taunting him, like why are you so mad?
Okay.
When he thinks like she already knows.
Okay. Kira's hand.
Sure. So like he says, or she says, why sweet Othello, after he literally said, I'm glad to see you mad. So I feel like he's trying to convey that he's angry at her in some way, but Desdemona doesn't seem to get it, or like doesn't seem to go along with it. So I think that makes him even more angry. So I think that's why he calls her the devil and then strikes her, because she said sweet Othello and not like, why are you so mad? Or like giving in to his anger.
Maybe her innocence and her being sort of nice is more angry to him. Okay, Stephanie?
Also, I think he believes that everybody knows that she cheated on him.
Oh.
So he might be like, well, if everybody knows now, then everybody can see that I straight you.
Interesting, sort of a public shaming for what he thinks is a public crime. Okay, how does she react?
I have not deserved.
I have not deserved this. And a few lines later, I will not stay to offend you. How do you hear those lines? Sad, okay. He does reference tears, right? These crocodile tears, so I mean she seems to be crying. Does anyone hear, so you're sad. I don't know, does it sound, and maybe it's, in light of 4.3, does it sound submissive to you? Or does it sound defiant to you, or challenging to you? Julie?
It sounds kind of submissive because she's not upset really, she doesn't really seem upset that he did it. She's more like, oh, like I was offending you. So it's kind of like, she's kind of like taking base on something she didn't do.
Okay. Anyone else want to comment on that? Kira?
Like, I feel like she blames herself and doesn't really blame him. Like, oh, I have not deserved this. She doesn't say, Othello, why did you do that? Like in a statement. Like syntactically, she doesn't address him. She just said, oh, I haven't deserved this.
She asserts her own innocence.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, she doesn't say, how dare you? Don't ever do that again. Like, I will just stay. I won't stay anymore. I'll leave so I don't offend you anymore. Right? How do other people react? Steffi?
Well, Ludovico is like, why did you do that?
Seems a little surprised.
Like, apologize to her because she's crying, and he feels like sympathy for Desdemona, unlike Othello.
Okay, good. Isabel?
The first thing he says is kind of like the people in Venice won't believe this, so he automatically says, hey, like you just kind of messed up your reputation, so that's kind of playing onto the theme of reputation again, and how that's the first thing that's brought up after this incident's happened.
Okay, good.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Do you think, like during this part, do you think, like, Iago was shocked that he hit Desdemona?
That's a good question.
Funny if it was.
I don't know. What do you picture?
Well, cause later, like, as he's, like, telling Ludovico, like, this, like, happened, like, this had happened before, like, I don't know, like, if he was, like, surprised, or, like, by, like, what
I think Iago's a really lucky man, right? Because things keep playing into his plan, right? Bianca comes in and throws the the handkerchief back to Cassio. How lucky is that, right? For Othello to see it. And this is maybe another instance of luck. Like, how lucky is he that everyone gets to see him publicly strike Desdemona? Because if it goes farther and he's able to kill her, it's going to be easier to exonerate Iago, right? Because they've already seen Othello behave this way. Does that kind of make sense? So yeah, I think he's, I don't know if he's surprised or not. In the movie, the film version that I can't quite show you, he definitely seems way they have him prohibited is he's shocked, like, oh wow, I didn't think that was gonna happen. Right here in public, but he immediately kind of turns it, in his favor. So I don't know an answer to that. Well, let's go back to kind of what Lodovico said, right? He says, "My lord, this would not be believed in Venice." So one, that's a comment on Othello's reputation, right? In Venice as this sort of great general. But remember we talked way back about the two different locations? The things that happen in Cyprus, right, might not have happened had they stayed in Venice, right? That Venice is more cosmopolitan, more lawful, right? If you remember, Brabantio, this is Venice, my house is not a grange, right? That there is some sort of order and lawfulness in Venice that doesn't seem to be taking place in Cyprus. We've had some drunken brawls, right? There seems to be, a fair amount of prostitution and whoring happening, not necessarily with Desdemona, but with, Cassio and Bianca and such. And Lodovico serves as a reminder to us that we are a long way from Kansas, right? Okay, that we have moved from, right, kind of a place of order to one of, right, sort of unlawfulness, right? Okay, and sort of emotions and abuse and passions, right, that seem to be taking over. I want to look at something else he says. Turn to page 255. Right, he's kind of, talking about this scene, and he says, "Is this the noble Moor whom our full Senate call all in all sufficient? Is this the nature whom passion could not shake, whose solid virtue the shot of accident nor dart of chance could neither graze nor pierce?" What's he calling into question here?
255.
On line 255.
Is he talking about
Not his race, no. His reputation, his character, right? Is this the noble Moor that we called sufficient? Is this the man that we thought was so worthy and valiant and able to kind of lead this army? Right? Is this the nature whom passion could not shake? Think about it. Go back, think about Act 1, Scene 2. Remember when Brabantio confronted Othello with swords and calling him all these racial slurs? What did Othello do in that scene? Totally composed and calm, stood firm, right? Let's not fight. Let's go talk to the Duke. Let's, we'll sort of rationally deal with this, right? So he says, is this man so completely changed in Cyprus, right? He's a different person. Okay, I'm bringing us back to tragic hero. Who can remember the traits of a tragic hero? It's partly why we read Oedipus Rex first. Mariana.
Like a fatal flaw.
There's definitely a tragic flaw. Okay, good. What else does our tragic hero have? Stephanie?
They have to gain self-knowledge from
There is the gaining of self-knowledge. Anybody remember that fancy Greek term?
Start with
Nope. The other one?
agnosis.
Close. Anagnorisis, right? Okay, good. Isabel?
So like fall from a high position or like fall from grace.
Yeah, so we have this sort of noble stature, kind of, on the whole, a good character to begin with, otherwise, right? I mean, Iago can't be a tragic hero, he's despicable. There's no fall that happens. Natalia, did you have something else?
Yeah, I was gonna say fall from
Okay, so the actual fall, right? Okay, or the kind of reversal, right? And this is that P word.
Peripeteia.
It's this hideous spelling.
That's spelled.
There it is. I think it is I-E-I-A. Okay, peripeteia. Good. Okay. And then what else? Kira.
Suffers a punishment which exceeds his crime.
Okay, punishment
And then
exceeds the crime. Yeah, we're good? They're all encapsulated here. Okay. What we just read there by Lodovico, that signals for us peripeteia, right? Okay. That Lodovico's quote there, okay, on line 255 is essentially that, wow, Othello used to be this, and boy, he is this, right? He has really turned into something much more base, right? Not worthy of the respect that we had in him. So it kind of signals, right? We've seen it happening, right, slowly throughout, but it kind of signals for everyone else there, right, that this man has had some sudden transformation, right? Okay, he's not sort of the noble character he was before. Okay, Peritia. All right, well, let's just kind of quickly review, okay, to make sure that Othello does indeed fit the bill of a tragic hero. Noble stature, does he match that?
Yes.
Yeah, why?
General.
He was the general of the Venetian army. That's pretty big. Okay. And what about his character at the beginning? Was he essentially a good character? Yeah, I think we kind of discussed that, right? Sort of seems valiant, noble, moral, right? Calm, authoritative, respectful. Okay, totally works. Okay, there. So we have these two. Tragic flaw. Jealousy. Okay. Jealousy could definitely be one. It's a scary tragic flaw, this jealousy though. Because we all have this, right? It's one that I think can kind of take over, right, and sort of destroy. So jealousy. What's another one, Francesca?
I'm thinking like Iago himself.
Okay. Well, but Iago is kind of the catalyst for something that is within Othello. Yeah, chemistry for sure comes into English all the time, right? Yeah, just like in poetry, right? The foot is the basic unit of meter, just like an atom is the basic unit of all, right, matter. I sort of love and hate chemistry. Okay, so what else? What, Ellery?
Maybe like his extreme trust.
Yeah, and this is kind of a weird one, I think, for us. It's not often that we think trust is a flaw, right? Okay, to be kind of trusting of people, that always seems like a good thing, right, to be trusting. But trust in excess, remember, a tragic flaw is something in excess. What does trust in excess become?
Become vulnerable or
Ignorant.
Well, you definitely become vulnerable. Why?
because then people can hurt you overly.
Because they can kind of take advantage. Yeah, what do you call someone who seems to like believe everything and you're like, for real? Gullible, right? Yeah, it kind of leads to this gullibility, right? Okay, if you're overly trusting, you become gullible, and then that's where Iago comes in, right? And he's able to take advantage of that. Kira?
He's also very like naive.
And I think naivete comes in with that because he is sort of naive, right, about the world. For someone who is a general, he's seen a lot of the world. He's naive about maybe human relationships and human natures, and so he ends up trusting a lot, right, because of that. Good. Anything else? Trust and ignorance. I guess it kind of goes with that. Gal, I heard you say that kind of that ignorance as well. There's another tragic flaw he has, and it is the very traditional tragic flaw. Sammy? Pride, absolutely. Now, we've talked about pride with Iago, but I think Othello does have some pride. Where do we see it early on in the play?
Well, he says like my perfect soul and stuff like that.
What is the Duke going to say to me? My perfect soul and actions, right, will defend me. I mean, he knew he had a pretty sterling reputation, right, Kira?
And also like in that line he said his innocence will prove him like in court, so he didn't really have to prepare for it.
Okay, good.
He also tells Proventia, like, put your swords down and don't start fighting with me because I know this kind of stuff.
If it were my cue to fight, yeah, I would have known it, right, without a prompter is what he says. Yeah, so he does kind of take great pride in his reputation, right, his nature, even a little bit his background. He explained that he was from royal descent. How does pride factor in here with Desdemona's infidelity? How might this trigger something in Othello's pride?
Well, because he like values his reputation so much and he thinks so much of it that if Desdemona cheats on him, it could mean that he's like not good enough or like not man enough for her, so that damages his.
You got that right. He becomes a cuckold, right? Kind of the horned man here. Yeah, you have to kind of remember the sexism, right, of that time. That if she cheats on him, he is not the man, this worthy, noble, right, kind of powerful general, okay, that he might have been otherwise. Good. Other comments on that? So definitely his reputation as a husband, as a man, right, kind of falls into that. Someone also brought up even maybe his kind of pride in himself as he adopts Iago's beliefs about his own race, right? That kind of maybe triggers something with his pride. He does kind of adopt some of that self-doubt, right? That Iago has kind of planted in him. that could be wounding to his pride as well, right? That maybe he does start to believe because he's older, because he doesn't have the manners, because he's the wrong race, right? That those things are also kind of hurting his, pride and reputation. Good. So really kind of our main flaws here. Okay, these two, be on the lookout. Okay, you'll see it tomorrow at the play. But there's certainly a great speech he gives at the end, and we'll see if it is some true anagnorisis. Does he really, come to understand something about himself and what he has done? And I think this one's going to be up for a lot of debate, whether his punishment exceeds the crime or not. Okay, so we'll sort of see once it happens if you think his punishment is actually worse than what he did. So we'll be able to discuss that on Friday. Okay, good? All right, 4.2. Let's rush through it. We're not going to spend a lot of time on the scene. It's sort of a great scene just because we get this conversation between Othello and Desdemona. Perhaps it's their last sane, well, I don't even know if it's the same conversation. There'll be one more conversation they have, but this is maybe the last extensive conversation between the two of them. It opens up with a lot of questions, right? Who is Othello questioning first? Amelia. And then who does he question? Yeah, a lot of questions, okay? Why does he ask them so many questions? Why in this scene does Shakespeare have Othello ask them? Amelia, have you ever seen them together? Are they cheating? He asks them all these questions. Why? Kara?
It still kind of shows his doubt about the whole situation. Like, if Amelia maybe knew about Desdemona cheating on him.
Okay, so maybe it shows his doubt. But if it shows his doubt, why doesn't he believe anything they say? Because Amelia says, no, there's nothing. Nothing's going on. She's honest. Desdemona says, I'm true. I'm honest. Why doesn't he believe them? Stephanie and Chris.
I think it's a woman and gender comes into play.
Oh.
Because even though Amelia is very close to Desdemona and he loves Desdemona so much, he trusts Amelia more.
Okay. Kristen?
Yeah, I hadn't even thought of that. That was a really good point. But also, I think that Othello is so far convinced that he's just looking to see that they're denying it. Just to prove to himself that they are lying. They're obviously not going to say that Desdemona's cheating, so he's just convinced that they're hiding something.
Interesting. So that their denial actually confirms for him that it's been done. Okay, so that could be one thing. Or two, this could be a comment on women. Oh, well, why would I believe a woman? Right? Okay, what could these women possibly have to say that would challenge Iago? Julie?
And I feel like he kind of already made up his mind when he is planning on killing Desdemona.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this is kind of like he's trying to justify it in his head. Like
Ooh.
if they're denying it, then that's even worse than just doing it, lying about it too.
Okay. That's twisted, just seeking the justification. Gabrielle?
Adding on to Stephanie's, I think it's mostly like Iago's influence on women that's coming on him, so he's changing his mind about them.
Okay, good. And hopefully, I think I had you look at some words throughout the scene, and hopefully you noticed it as you probably highlighted horn and strumpet a ton of times. Like, whoa, his language has really become rather crude and crass, right? Kind of much like Iago's. Okay, let's look at Desdemona in this scene. So she enters. Look at the very first thing she says to him on page 163, right, about line 23. My lord, what is your will? What's her subtext here? What do you think she's really saying? And not what you want her to say. What do you think she's really saying to him? Stephanie?
Like, what do you need me to do? Like, what's going on? What's wrong?
Okay, what's wrong? What's going on? But the first one you said was, what do you need me to do? Interesting. Okay. Lexi?
Yeah, like how can I make it up to you?
Ooh. Can I make it up to you? Okay. Yala?
Like the sexual. Is that what?
Oh, are there, what? Okay,
Well,
what
because, like,
sexual
in the-
undertone?
Well, because
I love
the
it.
next line, and the next line he goes like, "What is your pleasure?" So it's like,
Oh, that's interesting. I don't have a response to that, but Right, so maybe, like, do you think that she's suggesting that he's kind of bent on sex, or is she seen as like, this is a way that I can pacify you?
Yeah.
The second one?
Yeah.
Okay. Sort of using herself then, or kind of her feminine guile to fix the situation. Okay, Kira?
I feel like it's very subservient and she's just
Okay.
waiting to be obedient, kind of like a servant. Like,
Okay.
what do you want at this moment? Like, what can I do for you?
Okay. Okay. Let me ask you this question. What do you want it to be? What do you want her subtext to be here? Kira?
To confront him and like ask him like why he's so angry so that you can actually have a conversation about it.
Okay.
Like maybe saying like what is your will, like what is your intention?
Okay.
Like why are you so angry?
Dude, what's your problem? Okay. Natalia?
Yeah, I was gonna say like I want it to be like, what do you want? But like
Uh-huh.
not in the way of like, what do you want so I can please you? In the way of like, what are you doing? Like what's
Okay. Okay. Isabel?
I feel like you're saying, like, since this is the first thing she says like when Othello sentenced her,
Mm-hmm.
like, what is your will? I feel like it's like, what are you gonna do for me? So it's more of her trying to like get ready to like leave or get ready to defend herself in case
Okay.
like, he does something bad.
Okay. Stephanie?
I was just like thinking like her asking, "Are you okay?" But like not in a way where she's being nice. Like she's almost asking, "Are you insane?"
Okay. And commenting on sort of his state of mind at this point. Okay, so not in a nice way, in a mean way, like you're
Yeah.
crazy. Okay. Okay. Yeah. If only. So let's continue to kind of look at their exchange, right? I want to look particularly at line 39, right? So he says quite a few things to her, right? He's calling her sort of a devil, that she's damned, and then he says, "Heaven truly knows that thou art false as hell," right? Ooh. And she says, "To whom, my lord? With whom? How am I false?" Does he answer her question?
No.
No. Right? Oh, Kira.
He doesn't even let her really speak. Like he doesn't give her the benefit of the doubt. It's an automatic that he believes Iago, and he doesn't even let her kind of tell her side of the story.
Yeah.
So it's really unfair and biased towards her.
Yeah. Ellen?
Why didn't he ever just say, like, why are you in Cass?
Oh, you stole my question. I love it. Right? No, that's great. I mean, because what is not said ever in this conversation? I think you're having an affair with Cassio. Right? It never gets said. It drives us crazy, right? This is some of the beauty of this play, right? As an audience, we're like, real? Like, you come in and talk to her and you can't even say it? Why? I don't know. It's a good question. Who wants to answer Ellen's question? I don't even know if I have an answer. Natalia?
Well, I feel like at this point in the play, it's like, even if he did say, I think you're having an affair with Cassio, it wouldn't change his feelings.
Oh.
He already justified it in his head. He already
Okay.
is set on like what he thinks happened, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe earlier in the play, I think things could have, like, if she would have just said, I lost the handkerchief, things would have been like so.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So at this point, it wouldn't make any difference.
Yeah.
Okay. Today?
And even Desdemona didn't even mention Cassio because she's been trying to get like Cassio to talk back to Othello. And it probably shows that Desdemona is like scared to mention it, but if she did, I feel like Othello will either say something or will strike her again. Like I think his anger
Okay.
already like overcame him, so he doesn't want to hear anything else. Or doesn't want to even bring it up
Okay.
because it will just make him
Yeah, she might be pretty fearful at this point. Okay, Chloe?
It also shows that Iago has provided him with so much proof that he no longer has any doubt. Like he doesn't even need to ask her because he believes it.
Okay, all that ocular proof that he got, right, from Iago. Okay, turn to page 169. Let's look at Desdemona again. She has, this is like her only soliloquy in the play. It is a real mini soliloquy, right? Our poor leading lady gets 3 lines. So, she has to, kind of takes all this verbal abuse from Othello. He leaves, and then she sends Amelia to go get Iago. For the span of 3 lines, she's alone on stage. And so remember, when a character's alone and speaking, it tends to reveal what they're really feeling inside. She says at line 106, "'Tis meet I should be used so, very meet. how have I been behaved that he might stick the smallest opinion on my least misuse? Obviously the translations really help, right? Tis meet, tis fitting, tis appropriate, I should be used so. Very appropriate, right? How have I been behaved that he might, or that might lead him to misinterpret my deeds like this? What are your thoughts on these 3 lines? Isabel?
I like, in my annotations, I just like say, why is like she blaming herself? Like, out of everything that's happened, how can she like blame herself? And I feel like this goes into like what we talked about last class, which was how Desdemona might not actually be as brave and bold as we think, because this is kind of like saying, like, as a wife, what did I do to upset my husband? And it's kind of just disappointing.
Okay. Yeah, how does it feed into kind of her views of women? Kira?
I feel like her rational sense of guilt kind of feeds into how she searches for any possible sin that she could have committed in the
Yeah.
marriage.
Okay. Anything else? Let's get into sort of power dynamics between men and women at this time. What does her little soliloquy here suggest? Stephanie?
It's almost like Othello has enslaved Desdemona because any little thing she does, she feels like it'll like trigger something in Othello.
Okay. So she's sort of at the mercy of his whims. Isabel?
Well, kind of similar to that, it's like men are the ones who should be pleased, and like the women's feelings don't matter. It's like as long as they're happy, then everything's good. But if you upset them, then it's like hell's loose.
Okay. Okay, Elise?
I think part of the reason she doesn't do anything about it is if she does, she'd have nothing. Like, does she already like burn the bridge with her dad? So she has nowhere to go.
Where could she go at this point, right? Yeah, this is sort of the man that she's tied to. Are you frustrated by Desdemona's character at this point in the play? Yeah, some of you aren't totally sure. But I think it's hard because, and it's always fun to hear you at the beginning, you're like, oh, she's bold and rebellious and courageous, and I'm like, let's just wait till we go through it. But again, she, I think, is really grappling with these societal constructs, right? Okay, of what she's allowed to do, right, as a woman in a marriage. Okay. Last thing we're talking about, then we're going to move into 3-4. Just kind of fun to see what Amelia says in this scene. Some wonderful moments of dramatic irony. What does Amelia think is the problem here? It's so great. It's so great. Isabel?
She's like so smart, but she doesn't see it. It's like she says, I will be hanged if some eternal villain, some busy and insinuating rogue, some hogging, cozening slave to get some office, have not devised this slander, I'll be hanged else. So she's basically describing Iago. While Iago's in the room, but she doesn't see that it's Iago.
Oh, it's so awesome. Yeah. Some bad guy is just telling Othello all this stuff. Yep, that'd be your husband. Okay. So again, it's a great moment of dramatic irony for us. He denies it. Oh, it's impossible. There's no person like that. Right, but she definitely hits the nail on the head there. Okay, but doesn't recognize it yet. Okay, that is it for Act 4, Scene 2. We skipped Rodrigo, Iago. I don't care. Another conversation. Rodrigo says, I think you're using me. Iago says, no, of course I'm not using you. Could you kill Cassio for me? Rodrigo says yes. That is my summary, right? You can tell my writing is not as good as Shakespeare's, but that is essentially what happens in that conversation. Rodrigo agrees to kill Cassio for Iago. Okay, so Act 4, Scene 3. This is where we're going to spend the rest of class. This wonderful conversation between Amelia and Desdemona, where I think we really get to see these two ladies a little more clearly. Okay. So what I have here is a close reading sheet. It's not as long as that one with Iago and Rodrigo, but where I'm going to direct you to specific lines or moments in this conversation, and you're really going to try to figure out kind of who these two women are, but then also how this scene kind of figures into sort of the play as a whole, or where we are going in the play. So I'm going to kind of turn you loose at first, and then we'll come back and discuss it. So again, it gives you the line numbers to go and look at. So start working on this. Let's start with maybe about 10 minutes. See how far you can get, and then we'll come back as a class. I know, but then he comes in when we need him.
So these lines are Amelia says to be alone in bed. Okay. If I do that,
But then we would have to do
Can we do bullet points or something?
Oh yeah, you can totally do all points, that's fine.
But he says he will return in contempt. Sorry.
She says that.
That's literally like how.
Yeah, they call him handsome.
Basically setting up.
Yeah, he has commanded people to go to bed and begs me to dismiss
Be alone.
it's out 10. Like okay, so that's basically
Was it Paul Weller Othello Desdemona? She like respects him.
So for the first one, see if you can find at least 2 lines, at least 2 different places that contribute to that sense of foreboding.
Same sheet. Which is such a mystery. What the heck? That's so strange.
You must not now.
Oh, it just happened.
Maybe the like
No, it's a little.
like this or that.
Lying.
Off, hello. We must not now displease him.
Is this bidding for give him
They think like.
not really.
Oh,
Oh, I see it.
yeah.
60.
discussing her living I believe those sheets gave him that false one. How foolish are our minds? Let's go through it.
They sound like what we've read in the past.
Did you good mainly wearing the do?
That's good. I don't know.
If I die before you, please shroud me in one of those things.
So back to this, she notices that
If I die,
he's respectful.
Sure, I'd be in one of those same sheets.
And then like.
Oh my god, I see.
That's like.
Oh,
Yeah, remember what was he referring to too? He had gone a Barbary horse. So her mother's handmaiden was also from Barbary.
Yeah.
Oh, Shakespeare.
No, like a person.
I know, it's not actually quite a long. Proper country, that's
Counting the pages. It's a lot. They don't have to say this.
I know, 200 lines.
Do you like your line a little song like
Sound that bad. Is it like
it's real bad.
But you'll read it faster because you'll sing it.
It's like kind of sad because she feels so like.
It's like a sad song from her childhood.
Okay.
It's like her.
What's the type of?
Do it.
I was like, it's like the one where.
Why is that? Because it's
Just ignore it.
I've been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. No, 6.
I saw.
But that was for speech.
And
And I thought like when she fell in love with herself, like that's too much. So it's like, oh, maybe she has.
Of course she's innocent.
I don't know.
Oh, I went
I'm not
to-
right.
Yeah.
But she's chosen.
Not
Yeah.
Big difference. They just recognize it as a man
yeah,
might
maybe
be
she's like.
attracted or whatever.
So
but
Carolyn shows like.
Yeah,
Maybe it kind of like proves what Iago said, how she was like destined to find like or destined to be attracted to like and younger men.
Okay, don't put too much time out, it's not the most important of the
Well,
questions, so.
And she like can't understand like
And
why
she can't
women
even
would do that.
understand it, let alone
And now like people do it. Really is like
I'm so nervous. No, it's steady. But only for 3 hours. Yeah.
Only for 3 hours?
How does everyone
I studied for like I won.
3 hours.
Okay, what would it be?
I definitely
Yeah, so
although
I did, I was
like I said understand like summation yeah,
what?
sure, but like on your
Oh my god, that's gonna be funny to watch that.
Amelia says like, yeah, of course there's
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
because Amelia is very like real.
So yeah, she's
I don't
This is where it falls flat on the page. It does seem weird when you're reading a conversation and then, you know, have you read like a song like kind of cut in your head and you're like, you know, you're talking, you know, it's kind of like, wait, so I think if it's done well, it fits, you know, but the lyrics of the song do connect to what she's doing.
It's like this song, yeah, which is a pretty reputation.
Yeah, like she's kind of singing and she says, Amelia, or please, you know, do this, or, you know, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Oh my god. It's just glad I got it figured out. Stop. It's like the thought.
It's like can't fathom.
She's like,
Can't
this
fathom.
is shows that she's like 90 so peculiar. So sad. Where are peculiar
Chris, write your history answers and have experience in English.
Be like, what? Yeah. Peculiar.
I feel like it might capture her sadness more,
No, the next one.
especially if it's like the super sad song. Like I do wish.
Oh man, that's like
That's a sad song.
I don't think there is any such thing.
I'll cheat on my husband if
Because she shows that she just believes in people.
And like she's loyal.
Yeah.
Is this consistent with what others see of her? Because she does these. Yeah.
When you say it like that, it sounds good. And like you're thinking out like
Okay, let's come back. I'm gonna touch base a little bit and then we'll finish it up on Friday. Most of you have gotten a sizable portion of page 1 done. Okay, so let's look at the first question that it asks you. So it asks kind of what lines at the beginning of the scene kind of contribute to the sense of foreboding. And even though this is kind of an intimate scene between these two women, and it's sort of a rare scene when it's just women on stage, right, kind of dominating the conversation, There's definitely an ominous feel to it. What lines stood out to you that kind of provide that feeling to us? Grace?
If I do die before thee, prithee, shroud me. I didn't write down the rest. Shroud me in those same, yeah.
Yeah, in one of my wedding sheets.
Yeah. That's a
Ooh.
little. Mostly because we know that's probably what's gonna happen if he wants to strangle her in bed. It's just, yeah.
Yeah.
It's very unsettling.
It is, especially because we know what has been said before. Absolutely, right? But she even sort of senses the fact that she is talking about her own death. There's some sense in her of doom to come. Okay, Isabel?
When Amelia says I would you had never seen him, it kind of makes the audience feel like, oh yeah, it would have been so much better if this had just never happened.
Okay, good. Anything else? Stephanie?
It's not really like on foreshadowing that much, but when she says my mother had a name called Valerie,
Yeah.
it's like very, very significant because back in Act 1, Othello was referred to as like father and horse.
Mm-hmm. Definitely sort of from the same location.
Yeah.
And look, what does she say right after that? About the maid? Yeah, Carol?
She said she was in love and he she loved, proved mad and did pussy. So it's like exactly what's happening to her.
It's playing out exactly again, right? Kind of with Desmond. That he has gone mad, right? Okay, and is forsaking her. And will do so, at least that he claims, right, through her death. Kira?
She also remarks how foolish are our minds on learning how to do it.
Ooh.
And it shows that her entire ignorance in the situation and how, I mean, she still says they're foolish, but it's not really like they know, really.
Okay. Good. And then one other thing I would kind of add, what is Othello asked her to do?
Be alone.
Yeah, that's a little dark, right? You know, he's commanded me to go to bed and bade me to dismiss you. Right? I mean, usually Amelia would be about because she is sort of the maid, so I'm definitely an ominous feel there that it's something unusual, right? That I'm supposed to go to bed alone, nobody else is supposed to be around, right? And that probably should have tipped off, right, kind of some thoughts as well. So definitely a dark opening to this scene. But then we get this sort of interesting conversation about men and women and their relationships. So we're going to kind of skip down to the question that kind of had you look at lines 58 to 60. Right, so Desdemona asks Amelia, she thinks that there are women who are unfaithful to their husbands, right? Okay. You know, when she says, right, dost thou in conscience think, tell me, Amelia, that there be women to abuse their husbands in such gross kind? The fact that she asks this question kind of reveals what to us about Desdemona? Marissa?
It's like she's so innocent and pure that the thought of choosing Othello hasn't even crossed her mind.
Yeah. Incredibly innocent and naive, right? That there's, I mean, so pure, there's no way she would consider, right, okay, infidelity. And Amelia's response?
She's good.
Yeah, for sure there'd be some such, no question. And then when asked if she would do it, right, she says, well, not by this heavenly light, I might do it as well in the dark. What does she suggest? I do it.
Like if the occasion, like if she was provoked to, she could.
Yeah, if the occasion comes up, for sure I would. I just keep it a secret. I don't know, is this consistent with what we've seen in Amelia's character so far?
I mean, not because she's been so like kind of loyal, but like she got like the handkerchief for Iago and things like that. So I mean, it kind of shows that she is loyal to Iago.
She does seem at times loyal to him. But does she always speak highly of him?
No.
No. Right? Remember her description of men? Men are all stomachs and we're food. Right? When we talk about her outlook is kind of what? It's a little bit cynical, right? Kind of realistic. She understands, you know, kind of the abuse that women experience. So I don't know, it's hard with her because she's an experienced woman. She seems to understand the world much more so than Desdemona does. Kella?
Never mind.
Sure.
Yeah.
And also, she got the handkerchief for Iago, but that also proves she has engaged in deception. Because who did she take it from? Desdemona. And did she own up to that when Desdemona was looking for it? No. I mean, so she is a woman that we have seen at times break loyalty, right, engage in deception in order to, right, and not that she's a bad person, but in order to get something that she wants or desires. Yeah.
Also like the women I think in the play that was shown like Desdemona, Amelia, and Bianca, like there's Amelia's like in jail.
Yes, it's lovely. Good.
Bianca will do it in the heavenly light or the dark.
Or for money.
Yeah. And then Desdemona would like never do that.
Ooh.
But then there's Amelia and Summer.
And so maybe Amelia is sort of our most realistic, right, of the three women in the play. And just really quickly, then I'll let you go. I mean, Desdemona on the next page questions her again. Wouldst thou do such a deed for all the world? I love Amelia's response. No, the world's a huge thing, right? It is a great price for a small vice, right? I wouldn't do it for nothing. The world. Yeah, is that?
I just have a question about that. What does she mean when she says it's Peggy who would not make her husband a king to make him a monarch? So isn't that still sort of
Well, it does a little bit. So it does kind of show that, I think it's a recognition of roles. But she said, if I do it for the world, if I cuckold him, and I now have the world in my power, then that makes him a monarch, right? Because it goes to my husband then. So it's sort of a benefit. Yes, it does seem to be some recognition. She understands societal sort of rules and roles, and will play whatever game she can to get ahead. Yeah. Okay, we'll wrap up their conversation because there are a couple other good quotes in there from Amelia. So, your homework, I'll put it on iNets. You decide whether you want to read it before